Next summer will mark 10 years since Barcelona last won the Champions League. Back in the prime days of the MSN trio, if someone had said that Barca wouldn't win the Champions League even once in the next decade, but Real Madrid would win it 5 times, most people wouldn't have believed it. However, due to poor management and huge amounts of money wasted on unnecessary transfers, the club has been in financial crisis since 2020. Even club legends like Koeman and Xavi couldn't help, and now Barcelona is forced to rely only on academy players. Today, we'll talk about Barcelona, how the team that dominated all of Europe in the early 2000s and 10s is now struggling with unstable performances, the reasons behind it, and possible solutions. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are close to reaching 1,000 subscribers. You're watching 90 Football. Let's begin. In 2008, Frank Rijkaard left the team, and Barca legend Pep Guardiola replaced him. Before joining Barcelona, Guardiola had no coaching experience, and Barca was his first team. Upon arriving, Pep immediately let go of several star players, including Ronaldinho, Deco, Zambrotta, and Lilian Thuram. At the time, selling Ronaldinho seemed strange to many because he was the team's main player. This meant all the pressure now fell on 21-year-old Leo Messi. However, thanks to Guardiola's smart transfers and tactics, the team won its first ever treble in history, and in the same calendar year, also won 6 trophies in total. Under Pep's management, Messi reached an unreal form, scoring an average of 52 goals per season. After winning the Champions League in 2009, Barcelona could have won it again in 2010, but Jose Mourinho's Inter knocked them out of the tournament. The following season, in 2010-11, the incredible form of the Messi, Xavi, Iniesta trio made Barcelona a team feared by every club in Europe. That season, Barca was close to another treble but lost the Copa del Rey final to Real Madrid. However, in La Liga and the Champions League, Pep's team dominated and gave no chance to any opponents. For me personally, Barcelona's peak season was 2010-11, not 2015 with the MSN trio or 2009 with Eto'o, Messi, and Henry. Yes, those years brought trebles too, but in 2011, Barcelona could easily beat any team in Europe. In the UEFA Champions League, they defeated Arsenal in the round of 16, Real Madrid in the semifinals, and Ferguson's Manchester United in the final to bring the trophy back to Catalonia. This is the best team we have ever faced. Everyone agrees, and I accept it too, said Sir Alex Ferguson. However, 1 year after this successful season, Guardiola left Barcelona to take a break. In Pep's last season, Real Madrid won La Liga and Chelsea won the Champions League. That same season, Messi won the Ballon d'Or and set a record by scoring 91 goals in a calendar year. After Guardiola's departure, his assistant Tito Villanova took over as coach. Despite health issues, Tito led the team for 1 season and won La Liga, but the Champions League was out of reach. Afterward, Argentine coach Tata Martino was brought in for 1 season, but after an unsuccessful campaign, he was dismissed. The club then hired team legend Luis Enrique. Around this time, the club's president also changed. Joan Laporta was replaced by Josep Bartomeu, who left a controversial mark in Barca's history. Luis Enrique started his first season with great success. Barcelona won La Liga, the Champions League, and the Copa del Rey, achieving the second treble in their history. What's even more interesting is that during that Champions League season, Barcelona defeated the champions of England, France, Germany, and Italy in the knockout stages to win the trophy. The legendary MSN trio scored a total of 122 goals and made 66 assists across all competitions. Many thought this marked the start of a bright future for Barcelona. With such a powerful trio, a strong coach, and a great president, it was expected that Barcelona would remain Champions League favorites for at least 5 years. At this peak time for Barca, Bartomeu had a great chance to secure his position as president. He called for new elections, and after the 2015 treble season, Bartomeu was re-elected as president with full support from voters. As mentioned earlier, if someone had told Barca fans at that time that in the next 10 years Barcelona wouldn't win the Champions League even once, while Real Madrid would win it 5 times, no one would have believed it. Unfortunately, that's what has happened. Since the 2014-15 season, the Catalan team has been struggling to recover. Barcelona's crisis began in 2017 when Luis Enrique resigned, and Ernesto Valverde was hired from Athletic Bilbao. Additionally, PSG bought Neymar for €222 million, taking away one of Barcelona's key players. Bartomeu, unsure how to use such a large sum of money, made several unnecessary transfers. For example, Barcelona bought Ousmane Dembélé for 135 million euros, even though his market value at the time was 33 million euros, a massive overpayment of 102 million euros. What's even more surprising is that this amount was paid for a player who had not yet proven himself in top leagues. Such a transfer fee was considered huge in 2017. Interestingly, Barcelona could have signed Mbappé instead of Dembélé, but Bartomeu insisted on bringing in Dembélé. Since Dembélé didn't perform as expected 6 months later, Barcelona bought Philippe Coutinho from Liverpool for 145 million euros during the winter transfer window. Coutinho was supposed to replace Iniesta, who was nearing retirement, but after 2 disappointing seasons, he was loaned to Bayern Munich and later sold to Aston Villa. In the 2018-19 season, Barcelona started strongly. They beat Real Madrid 5-1 at Camp Nou in El Clásico, even without Messi. In the Champions League, they topped a very tough group and advanced to the knockout stages, where they defeated Lyon and Manchester United to reach the semi-finals against Liverpool. After the first leg, many fans expected a Barcelona versus Ajax final in 2019. However, the shocking 4-0 defeat at Anfield showed that big changes were needed for the team. Following the Champions League loss, Valverde's team also lost the Copa del Rey final to Valencia, finishing the season with only 2 trophies. An interesting fact, in January 2019, after Suarez's injury, Barcelona needed a striker. Bartomeu had to choose between Kevin Prince Boateng and Erling Haaland. At the time, Haaland was playing in the Norwegian league and wasn't very famous yet, but had great potential. However, Bartomeu chose Boateng, who wasn't a good fit for Barcelona. Boateng, brought in on loan, failed to score a single goal in 4 matches, and left the team at the end of the season. In the 2019-20 season, Arthur Melo from Brazil and Antoine Griezmann joined the team. Griezmann's transfer looked successful for 2 reasons. First, Barcelona weakened their rival, and second, they needed a versatile player like Griezmann who could play in any attacking position. As Suarez was aging, Griezmann was expected to play in the number 9 role. However, the massive 120 million euro transfer fee put a lot of pressure on him. On top of that, just 1 year before his transfer, Griezmann had renewed his contract with Atletico Madrid and rejected Barcelona, reportedly refusing to play under Messi's leadership. While fans supported his transfer, it was not well received by players like Suarez, Messi, and Piqué. Griezmann's struggles to adapt were partly due to disagreements with Messi. Although they appeared friendly on the field and in front of cameras, the atmosphere in the locker room was the opposite. In December 2020, Barcelona sacked Ernesto Valverde and replaced him with Quique Setién. Before Valverde left, Barca was leading La Liga, but under Setién they lost the title. Appointing Setién was such a poor decision that even club members couldn't understand it. Hiring a coach who had been fired by Real Betis and spent 6 months working on a farm was a unique move by Barca management. As expected, Setién completely failed. Team leaders like Messi, Piqué, Alba, and Suarez didn't take him seriously, and Messi reportedly didn't even listen to instructions from Setién's assistant, Eder Sarabia, as seen in some videos. The most notable event of 2020 was Barcelona's humiliating 8-2 defeat against Bayern Munich in the Champions League and Messi's desire to leave the club. After the defeat, Messi demanded Bartomeu let him go. However, Messi's decision wasn't only due to the Bayern loss. There had been years of disagreements between Messi and Bartomeu. Despite Messi's request, Bartomeu refused to release him, forcing him to stay for the final year of his contract. In the 2020-21 season, Ronald Koeman became the head coach. Despite a poor season overall, Barca managed to win the Copa del Rey. However, the best news for Barca fans that season was Bartomeu's resignation. Joan Laporta returned as president and gained fans' trust by promising to renew Messi's contract. In May 2021, reports surfaced that Barcelona would re-sign Messi. After the Copa America, Messi was expected to return to the team. However, due to financial problems and Barcelona's massive debts, La Liga rejected Messi's new contract and he left as a free agent to join PSG. The 2021-22 season without Messi was, in my opinion, the weakest and most uncompetitive Barcelona I have ever seen. The team struggled with injuries and a lack of quality players. Their failure to progress from the Champions League group stage was humiliating. Xavi's appointment as coach and signing several free agents brought some hope for the future. In the next season, the club signed a lucrative deal with Spotify, securing significant funds. They brought in players like Robert Lewandowski, Jules Koundé, Rafinha, and Christensen. That season ended much better, with Barcelona winning La Liga and the Spanish Super Cup. In the summer of 2023, after Busquets and Alba left the team, Barcelona had to quickly find replacements. Alba's position was filled by João Cancelo, but the decision to bring in Oriol Romeu for Busquets was confusing. Even João Felix and Cancelo, brought in on loan, couldn't help much. After their return to their respective teams and continued struggles, Xavi was sacked. The most surprising part, Xavi announced before the season ended that he would leave Barcelona, but Joan Laporta convinced him to stay by extending his contract for 2 more years. However, just before the final game of the season, Xavi said in an interview that Barcelona is in a bad financial situation, which led Laporta to fire him. In short, Xavi was dismissed for speaking the truth. Despite these tough seasons, one positive for Barca was their talented young players. Since 2020, Barcelona has promoted several La Masia players to the main squad, turning them into key players. During Bartomeo's era, talented players like these existed too, but the club prioritized expensive, low-quality stars over La Masia's youth. Even Dani Olmo, who was sold for 60 million euros, left La Masia for Dinamo Zagreb in 2015 because he realized he wouldn't get a chance in the first team. He wasn't alone. Other promising players like Xavi Simons, Marc Cucurella, and Takefusa Kubo also left due to a lack of opportunities. If Bartomeu had invested Neymar's transfer money in academy players instead of wasting it, Barcelona might not be in this crisis today. Xavi Hernandez's most significant contribution to Barcelona was bringing several La Masia players like Fermin Lopez, Hector Fort, and Marc Casado into the first team. After Xavi left, Hansi Flick was widely expected to take over, and he did. Under Hansi Flick, Barcelona showed excellent results early in the season. By November, the team was playing stable and beautiful football in both La Liga and the Champions League. In the last week of October, Flick's team defeated Bayern Munich 4-1 in the Champions League and Real Madrid 4-0 away in La Liga. At that time, many believed that the Barcelona we know is back. I thought so too. However, November brought setbacks that almost erased 3 months of hard work. The issues stemmed from a tight calendar that forced players to play twice as much as before due to unnecessary international breaks and the new Champions League format. For example, Lamine Yamal, only 17 years old, started the new season without resting over the summer. His body couldn't handle the pressure. You already know what happened to Pedri. Even Dani Olmo has played in only half the games he could because he isn't used to playing every 3 days and his physical condition can't keep up. Frankie de Jong is still recovering from an injury he suffered in the spring and hasn't returned to full form. Due to squad depth issues and over-reliance on Lamine Yamal, Flick's team lost their lead in La Liga to Real Madrid in November. We will see how the rest of the season unfolds. Maybe this will be the Barcelona that finally wins the long-awaited Champions League. If you enjoyed this video, like it and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments which team you want the next video to be about.